We want to show you some examples of how you can create calculated tags using the calculation server here on version 20. The calculation server has a status window, a calculation status when you select a pre-built calculation. And to add, we just start by clicking the add button and we give a display name for our calculation. This we're going to run a 60-minute max on our flow tag. I pick my asset model and then I pick my asset type. In this case, it would be a pump. Now I have the ability to backfill. I can pick a point in time that I want to backfill the calculation for history, as well as I pick whether I want it to happen on value change or run the calculation on some type of an interval. So here I'll do 30 m per minute. Now I need to add an expression using the plus button, and I'm going to come into my functions and find my maximum aggregate. If you click an aggregate or a function, it'll show you below the format you need to follow. In this case, after I hit the plus, I just need to insert the tag in the first set of quotations and then the duration in a second set of quotations. I'll pick my tag from my asset tags. I'll use flow, and I do need to remove the square brackets from the tag name to use this aggregate. So after my tag's there, I'll type in 60 m per minute, and I'll end my parenthesis. Now for my output section, I'm going to send this to a data set I've named DC, and I need to insert my asset wildcard here, and that tells it to pass the asset information for each of my pumps into the tag name. I can evaluate it and make sure that the calculation is running, and I can see here that for most of my flows, I'm seeing a max value of 999. All right, so now I just need to deploy that calculation, and I can see that we've already started to backfill and that we have 10 total output tags. So when I define a calculation once, it applies it to all of the known assets. Let's build another. This time we're going to do a roll-up. So I have an east and a west branch and 5 pumps under each. And I'd like to select my branch model. And every set period of time, which for this we'll change it in say 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds, I want to do a roll-up average of all of the flows under the west branch and all of the flows under the east branch. So there's 4 spots that I need to fill out. First is I need to tell it the actual source path. And so it's the calc demo model that I've been using, and I use my asset wildcard. Then I need to tell it what I want it to do. In this case, I'm going to do an average. I could also do a sum or a count. I need to tell it the child asset that I'm rolling up from and the tag. So it is the pump and it's the flow. Again, I'm going to use my asset wildcard, write it into my DC dataset, and I'll name it flow average. And when I evaluate, I can see that my average of all the flows for east and west has been calculated. I deploy this, and there we go. Now, for the final calculation, we're going to do a condition-based calculation. So the idea here being that I want to look at my flow tag and write a Boolean based on the value of flow. So again, I pick my asset path and my asset type. I pick my period, how often do I want to run this calculation? Say every 30 seconds, and I build it out. Now I'm going to use the box on the left to set a variable, and we're going to make essentially the time average of the flow tag equal to A. And so we'll go grab that flow asset tag, take off our square brackets, and we are going to look backwards 5 minutes. So every 30 seconds, we are going to run an average for a running 5 minutes of the flow tag and set that value to A. Now we'll use the function if, there we are, if A is less than 350, then write a 1, if not write a 0. Output tag, back to my DC dataset, dot asset wildcard, and then name it dot flow alert. We'll run the evaluate. I can see that it's evaluating. So I'll hit apply, close, and then deploy this calculation. So there you have 3 examples of 3 different types of calculations that you can run. Each one gets applied to all of the known assets, and I only have to configure it one time. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us, info@canarylabs.com.